When life shatters you, dark truths about resilience unveiled at midnight. The clock struck 12 in the small town of Maplewood, but the ghostly shadows loomed larger than ever outside the old church. Inside, flickering candles bathed the room in a flickering glow, illuminating faces twisted in fear. They gathered, clinging to superstitions, convinced that at this hour, the barrier between life and death thinned. Whispers spun stories of ancient rituals gone wrong, of those who dared to challenge fate at the witching hour. As the town clock announced midnight, Amelia glanced at the cracked stained glass, its colors swirling like trapped souls. The air thickened, charged with the scent of rain and something far more sinister. What secrets did the town keep? How many had vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but cold echoes and unanswered prayers? Every town had its silence, but Maplewood's felt heavy. Every eye turned to the old oak door, creaking gently as if beckoning them closer. Rumor had it that the last town meeting had ended in chaos, screams piercing the night as a figure, veiled in darkness, appeared only to vanish into thin air. Charlie, the town sheriff, had sworn he saw it, but his words hung like a question mark in the crowd. "I swear, it spoke to me," he had said, voice trembling. Fear washed over the group, a wave of shared dread that left hearts racing and palms sweaty. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The murmurs swelled again, louder. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Laughter turned into nervous giggles, but there was a line between amusement and fear. The tension surged. Someone opened their mouth to speak, but the words never came, swallowed by the haunting sound of a whisper drifting unheard. A chill ran down Amelia's spine. Did she just imagine it? Or was it real? The room felt alive with secrets, each person grappling with their own ghosts. Outside, dark clouds rolled in, covering the moon's glow. Silence gripped the room, broken only by the amplified pounding of hearts. With a shuddering breath, Amelia took a step toward the door, curiosity battling fear. In that moment, it felt as if the darkness itself called out to her, an invitation or a warning. She pushed the creaking door open, stepping into the night. The air was uncomfortably still. And then, a flicker of movement caught her eye. What or who was hiding in the shadows of Maplewood? Amelia squinted into the darkness, her heart racing against her ribs like a caged bird. The air felt electric, tingling against her skin as if charged with warnings. Shadows danced along the edges of the street, but she couldn't discern if they were just the trees swaying or something much worse lurking just out of sight. "Hello?" she called softly, her voice a mere whisper against the stillness of the night. No reply. Just the rustle of leaves and the oppressive weight of the unknown hovering nearby. A brutal wind whispered secrets as it brushed past her, sending a shiver crawling down her spine. Amelia hesitated, the urge to flee clawing at her insides, yet an undeniable pull urged her to step forward, deeper into the blackness. Suddenly, a figure stepped from behind a gnarled tree, its outline emerging like a ghost summoned from the depths. Amelia gasped, every muscle in her body tensing as fear threatened to swallow her whole. Was it the darkness personified? Or just a lost soul from the town's twisted past? "Who are you?" she stammered, struggling to keep her voice steady. The figure didn't respond at first. Cloaked in shadows, it seemed to absorb the very light around it. Finally, it spoke, each word laced with an echo that chilled her to the bone. "You seek the truth, don't you?" In that moment, dread surged within her like a tidal wave. "What do you know?" she demanded, anger mixing with her terror. "I know what the others forget," the figure responded, stepping closer. The face was obscured, but as the dim glow from the church candles flickered, she caught a glimpse of piercing eyes, hollow yet vibrant. Maplewood is more than meets the eye. Secrets are buried deeper than your grave. Amelia took a step back, her back pressing against the cool wood of the church door. She wanted to scream, to run, but the words, laced with a twisted urgency, held her captive. Secrets. What secrets? Those who have vanished, who tried to unveil the truth. They lost themselves to the darkness. Are you willing to pay the price for knowing? A heavy knot formed in Amelia's stomach. Familiar faces danced before her mind as friends, neighbors. Were any of them among the lost? The townsfolk, once so jubilant during regular gatherings, now walked around with haunted eyes, shadows clinging to their souls. Why should I believe you? Amelia's voice cracked, but she held her ground. The figure leaned closer, the shadows shifting, and Amelia felt an icy breath on her skin. Because the truth shines brightest at midnight, and soon the choice one to be yours. They are coming for you. With that, the figure retreated, dissolving into the shadows like smoke drifting into the night. Just as suddenly as it had appeared, the oppressive atmosphere lifted, leaving her stunned and reeling. The weight of what she heard sank in, spreading fear through her veins like ice. Amelia spun back toward the door, but the church behind her felt miles away, a distant memory consumed by the growing darkness. She had opened a door she couldn't close. What truths awaited her? What horrors slept beneath Maplewood's surface? With a rush of decision, she sprinted toward the heart of town, the vibrant pulse of midnight now her only companion. Insistent whispers filled her ears like an impending storm, but as she reached the center of Maplewood, everything changed. The ground trembled beneath her feet, and a low, guttural growl rippled through the air. Amelia turned back, and froze. The shadows were shifting again. What had she unleashed? Amelia's breath turned shallow as the shadows twisted and coiled around her like serpents, ready to strike. Every instinct screamed for her to run, but her feet felt glued to the ground, as if she were standing on the edge of a precipice, teetering between the familiar and the terrifying unknown. From the depths of the dimness, a chorus of whispers began to swirl around her, growing louder and more insistent. It was as if the wind itself carried the voices of those lost in Maplewood, calling out from beyond the grave. Her heart thudded in her chest, pounding a frantic rhythm as the growl morphed into a cacophony of terrified murmurs. Amelia! A voice cried, familiar yet distorted. The name echoed in her ears like an alarm bell, pulling at the very core of her being. Help us! Who? Who are you? She shouted, her own voice strained with panic. The shadows seemed to sway, and for a heartbeat, she imagined she saw shapes within them, faces, contorted with fear, their mouths moving in silent screams. Find the truth. The disembodied voice urged. Before it finds you, before they come. In that moment, the ground beneath her quaked violently, and Amelia stumbled back, desperate to keep her balance. Could it be that the spirit of those lost was rising to guide her? Or was it a warning, leading her straight into a trap? She had heard the tale of the cursed, but could she truly believe in the horrors lurking beneath Maplewood? As she swayed, her gaze caught a flicker of movement. Out of the darkness, a figure emerged again, this one more solid than the last. It was a man, gaunt and pale, with hollow cheeks and eyes that looked like deep wells of despair. The edges of his form were blurred, as if he were a part of the darkness itself. Run! He rasped, his voice hoarse and choked. You have to leave this place. They're coming for you. Who is coming? Amelia asked desperately, taking a step forward, her curiosity wrestling with fear. What do you know? They thrive on fear, they feed on the truth. His transparent mouth cracked into a sinister smile that sent chills racing down her spine. I was like you, curious. I paid the price. The tension around her thickened, like the air before a storm. Suddenly, there was a loud crack, the sound splitting the air like thunder. Lightning flickered in the distance, illuminating the town square in a harsh white light for a split second. In that blink, Amelia could see the shadows converging, twisting and forming shapes that mirrored the town. Panic swept through her. I can't be here. I can't. Her voice broke, and she turned, desperate for any escape. She dashed to the edge of the square, the whispers growing louder behind her, a chorus urging her to flee. Yet her feet found their way towards the old oak tree, its massive trunk gnarled and twisted, seeming to beckon her with ancient knowledge. She felt a compulsion, a tug in her gut, as if something tied to her destiny was waiting beneath its roots. Ignoring the rise of dread in her chest, Amelia reached the tree, her breath rapid and shallow. She knelt, pressing her hands against the rough bark, feeling the pulse of something old and powerful thrumming within. Then, the ground trembled again, stronger this time, shaking the very core of the earth. A deep voice echoed from the roots, as if the tree itself was alive, warning her, "Truth comes at a cost, child. Are you ready to pay?" Her heart raced, torn between the need to uncover the secrets and the sheer terror of what they might reveal. She hesitated, and a sense of foreboding washed over her, mingling with the hope of discovery. What would she unearth beneath the old roots? Would revelation bring liberation or doom? Amelia steeled herself, gripping the bark tightly. She had already opened the door. Now it was time to step through. And as she closed her eyes, ready to embrace the darkness, the ground shuddered, and the shadows surged forward with a sinister growl, hungry for the truth she had chosen to seek. What awaited her beneath the gnarled roots of the oak? The roots shifted beneath Amelia's hands, a shudder creeping up her arms as the whispers mingled with the earth's deep rumbling. It was a sound both terrifying and mesmerizing, a melody of lost souls drawn to her, begging for release. Her heart raced, torn between fear and an insatiable hunger for the truth. "Open your eyes," the voice from the roots commanded, resonating through her very core. "See what you've been too afraid to confront." Blackness pressed against her eyelids, heavy with shadows. But something inside her urged her to yield, to venture into the depths of what lay hidden beneath her town. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to peel her eyes open. The world around her transformed, the shadows flickered, revealing fragments of the past. Streets lined with flickering gas lamps, children playing in the square, locals exchanging stories of long-lost love. But then the scene shifted. Darkness flooded the streets as a thick fog rolled in, faces twisting into anguished expressions, hollow eyes staring into nothingness. Her pulse quickened as the images shifted and morphed, showcasing moments of horror etched deep into Maplewood's history. "Stop!" she cried out, overwhelmed. "I can't embrace it." The voice shouted, piercing through her panic. "This is the truth hidden from you, Amelia. You must understand." The shadows swirled feverishly around her, coiling up her legs, tightening like chains. Amelia struggled, the weight of the past crashing down on her. Faces she didn't recognize swirled in the darkness, their tortured expressions filled with desperation. Had they all come to her for help? Or were they warning her of something worse? "Why are you here?" she stammered, her voice trembling. "What do you want?" "Find the catalyst. The source of our pain." One spirit wailed. Its voice was a hollow whisper, tinged with rancid sorrow. "You are the key to our freedom. What if I fail?" Amelia responded, fear tightening its grip around her throat. "What if I can't save you?" "Your courage is what will save us all." Another wisp of shadow slid closer, almost wrapping around her shoulders. "But you must uncover the dark secret before they find you." Suddenly, the ground heaved violently, knocking her to the dirt. Amelia gasped as the roots erupted from the earth, twisting and screeching like a beast in agony. They writhed around her, a relentless force trying to pull her deep into the soil. She clawed at the ground, her breath coming in desperate gasps. "No. I want to go," she screamed, straining against the pull. The shadows shrieked, and for a brief moment, Amelia glimpsed a single truth nestled among them, a glowing orb pulsing with light, suspended in the air above her. It was filled with secrets, a swirling tempest of light and darkness. "Take it," the whispers urged. "It will lead you to the truth." With a sudden surge, she lunged forward, reaching for the orb. The moment her fingers brushed against its surface, a jolt of energy coursed through her. Memories flashed, her family, her childhood, whispers of a long-buried scandal that wove through Maplewood's past like a dark thread, but as the light enveloped her, the shadows surged forward, a surge of rage and hunger breaking free. The man from before materialized before her again, his expression one of grave concern. "They're coming for the truth, Amelia. You need to run." The shadows howled like a storm, and Amelia felt panic gripping her heart. Was it too late? Had she opened a door that couldn't be closed? "Where do I go?" she shouted, her heart pounding as the dark fury bore down on her. "Follow the light," he bellowed, fear creeping into his own voice. "Before the shadows consume you." With a fierce cry, Amelia plunged forward into the swirling light. But before she could break free, the shadows seized her, dragging her back into the abyss. Darkness twisted around her, suffocating, as the whispers screamed louder, her understanding unraveling. What price would she pay for the truth? And as the shadows tightened their grip, the chilling question hung in the air: would she emerge intact, or would Maplewood's dark legacy swallow her whole? Amelia's heart pounded as the shadows tightened their grip, each whisper slicing through her mind like shards of glass. She tugged against the dark tendrils, but they felt as heavy as lead, pulling her deeper into a chasm of despair. The glowing orb hung just beyond her grasp, shimmered with the weight of a million secrets, and it beckoned her, but a cold hand of fear pulled her back. "Amelia! Focus!" The man's voice boomed through the chaos, vying to reach her. "You have to break free. Think of what you love." Love, the word pierced through the veil of terror surrounding her. Images of her family flooded back, her mother's warm smile, her father's knowing gaze, her brother's laughter echoing in the corners of her memory. They were safe, right? The thought ignited a flicker of hope in her chest that burned brighter than the shadows encroaching around her. With a strangled cry, she freed one hand and pushed herself against the pull of the darkness. "No. I won't give in," she shouted, her voice surprisingly strong. She forced herself to remember the light, drawing upon every ounce of strength from those cherished memories. The shadows recoiled, hissing like snakes, as a surge of energy coursed through her. The orb flickered vibrantly, illuminating her chaotic surroundings. The spirit's whispers shifted from cruel taunts to a haunting song, chanting her name like a mantra, boosting her resolve. "Let go of your fear," the man urged, stepping into the vicinity of light. "Only then can you grasp the truth." In a galvanizing moment, Amelia stretched out her hand toward the orb with newfound determination. She felt the warmth emanating from it, wrapping around her like a protective embrace. The shadows shrieked in fury, a tempest of darkness swirling as they struggled to cling to her. "Please," she begged the spirits. "Help me." The whirlwind of voices responded, harmonizing together, creating a powerful force that pushed back against the encroaching shadows. They intertwined with the light, and for the first time, Amelia could see glimmers of their past, fractured memories of sorrow and joy, lives intertwined with Maplewood's dark history. The orb was within reach. Amelia surrendered to the light, allowing it to wash over her as she grasped the orb firmly. In that instant, the shadows recoiled, shrieking in despair, their grip on her dissolving like mist under the sun. Bright light exploded around her, illuminating the dark landscape of crushed branches and scattered leaves. Amelia felt weightless, suspended between dimensions, as visions flooded her mind, the truth unveiled in a riot of colors and sounds. But then, before she could comprehend it all, the visions grew dim. She found herself standing in an old church, the walls adorned with peeling wallpaper, and the air thick with a musty scent. Fragments of those buried truths clung to her like cobwebs. Ghostly silhouettes glided across the pews, their expressions ones of longing and regret. "Where am I?" she whispered, panic rising within her again. "You've stepped into the domain of the past," the man said, now materialized beside her, face serious. "It's time to confront the catalyst." His words echoed in her heart. The secrets were here, lurking in shadows, ready to expose everything Maplewood had tried to forget. Would she be able to handle it all? Would they lead her closer to freedom or deeper into the abyss? Outside the shattered stained glass window, a storm approached, thunder rumbling ominously in the distance. The ambience thickened, chilling her to the bone. "Amelia," he said, looking deeply into her eyes. "Are you ready?" Her breath caught. The choice lay before her, daunting yet irresistible. As the storm rumbled closer, the weight of the decision pressed on her like a thick fog. Would she find the strength to face the heart of the darkness? Or would the truth prove too great a burden to bear? Amelia inhaled sharply, her chest tightened by dread. The man beside her faded into the shadows of the church, but his presence lingered. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shake the idea that something crucial waited in the darkness, hidden somewhere within the walls of this haunted sanctuary. Confronted, she muttered to herself, pushing wavering feet forward. The air shimmered with electricity, a potent mix of dread and anticipation. The echoes of the past shrouded her in invisible chains. She forced her gaze toward a flickering candle on the altar, the small flame fighting valiantly against the gloom. As she approached, the shadows stretched, twisting like tendrils preparing to strike. Whispers swirled around her, each word a poisonous suggestion about her fate. "You shouldn't be here, you can't change the past, stop," she yelled, shaking her head as if she could dislodge their venomous words from her mind. "I will change it." With each step, her resolve solidified, igniting a fire within her that pushed back against the whispers. Amelia steadied herself at the altar, her fingers brushing against the cool stone surface worn from decades of despair. Her eyes darted around, seeking some sign of what she needed to face. Suddenly, a gust of wind swirled through the open window, extinguishing the candle's light with a dramatic whoosh that filled her with relentless panic. "Show me!" She screamed into the darkness, demanding an answer. But the silence that followed felt deafening, suffocating her words like a thick fog. A shadow moved at the corner of her eye. Heart racing, she turned to face a figure emerging from the darkness. It was a woman, her features soft yet haunted, eyes wide with yearning. The room felt cold, as if it sensed the weight of unfulfilled dreams surrounding them. "Help me," the figure whispered, her voice an echo of sorrow that tugged at Amelia's heart. "You must understand." "Understand what?" Amelia pressed, desperate for clarity. "What happened here?" The woman stepped closer, and the shadows twisted around her like dark snakes, pulling taut before releasing in an intimate dance. "Maplewood is built on secrets, on the pain we bury. It was my pain, Amelia, and now yours." With that, the world around Amelia shifted. The walls of the church melted into vibrant colors, swirling like watercolors brushed upon a canvas. She floated through time, glimpses of heartbreak and triumph flashing before her eyes. Families torn apart, communities crumbling, and a town torn by betrayal. Images of her family flickered. Her mother, once full of light, now swallowed by night. Her father, lost in silence, while her brother played a ghostly refrain in the background. "No!" she screamed, pushing against the tide of memories. "Don't take them from me." But the shadows enveloped her, forcing their truth upon her. The figure remained, pleading. "You must find the essence of their pain to set them free. Only then can you heal." Terror crept up her spine. The essence? How could she unearth such trauma without succumbing to it? But staring into the woman's eyes, Amelia realized this was not just about her fate, it was about her family, every laugh, every moment, every bit of love they shared. "Then I will do it," she breathed, her voice like iron. "I'll face whatever I have to face. No more running." The storm outside erupted, lightning illuminating the church as if revealing hidden truths. The woman's form flickered like an aging film reel, and for a fleeting moment, a smile graced her lips. "Then seek the heart of their story." Amelia's resolve firmed. The shadows, once daunting, now beckoned with promise. Time flowed differently here, moments of terror and hope intertwining like the very fabric of Maplewood itself. Just as she prepared to dive deeper into the abyss of the past, a loud crash echoed through the church, rattling her resolve. She turned, pulse pounding. What awaited her on the other side of that noise? Was it another spirit or the very embodiment of her fears? In the tension between light and darkness, Amelia took a breath, ready to confront what lay ahead. The storm raged outside, but that wasn't what made her heart race. It was the dawning realization, she might not be ready for what she was about to uncover. Would she find the truth to free her family, or would it demand a sacrifice too great to bear? The crash reverberated through the church like an alarm bell, startling Amelia from her spiraling thoughts. The shadows clung to her, heavier now, thick with tension. She turned fully, eyes straining into the darkness. There it was again, a noise like wood against stone, a shuffling just beyond the altar, somewhere deep in the heart of the church's shadows. "Who is there?" she called, her voice trembling despite her courageous facade. Nothing but silence followed. The kind that pressed against her ears and clenched at her heart. A moment passed, but then, the air shifted. A voice, low and distorted, echoed from the depths. "You should not have come, Amelia." A chill raced down her spine, and she instinctively took a step back. Memories of her mother's nighttime warnings flooded her mind about the things that thrive in darkness, the malevolence that can seep into the hearts of the unwary. But Amelia shook her head, stifling the fear that clawed at her. This was about her family, her past, not about fleeing into the night. "Show yourself," she demanded, her legs steadying beneath her. With a flicker like a dying bulb, a figure materialized before her. A man, tall and menacing, his features obscured by shadows. He grinned, yet it felt more like a sneer than a smile. Amelia's breath hitched as he stepped closer, the shadows swirling around him like a living cloak. "Are you ready to face the truth?" he taunted, voice dripping with malice. "You are woven into the very fabric of Maplewood's pain." She swallowed, the lump in her throat swelling. "What do you want from me? Don't you realize? Nothing comes free here. You seek answers." He leaned forward, his voice a whisper, "but they'll cost you dearly." Before she could respond, the shadows surged again, engulfing her vision. The world tilted, and Amelia found herself standing on the cobblestone streets of Maplewood, drenched in rain, her heart pounding like thunder in her ears. She recognized the scene unfolding the town's heart, vibrant yet shrouded in despair. She watched as figures flitted past her, blurred faces etched with sorrow, anger, and betrayal. A man shouted about a lost child, while a woman wept outside a dilapidated house. Did those figures know her? Amelia reached out, but her hand passed through them like mist. "What is this?" she breathed, feeling the urgency of their pain but unable to touch it. "The essence of their suffering," the shadow man's voice echoed from behind her, "the shadows of Maplewood are alive. You must weave their stories to unravel your own, or they will claim you." Her heart raced as she turned to face him. "Tell me what to do." "I'm not afraid." "Fear is a choice," he replied, eyes glinting in the darkness. "But tread carefully, Amelia. Each story you pull will unleash the heart of your family's tragedy. And when the truth is unveiled, it might break you. Are you truly prepared for that?" A roar of thunder shook the ground beneath her feet. Amelia's mind raced, grappling with the weight of the moment. She thought of her mother, of the pain that enveloped her family, and of the woman from the church who had urged her to find the truth. "I will do it. I'll face their stories," Amelia declared, though doubt crept into her heart. As she stepped forward, a vision flashed in her mind, her brother's laughing face, twisted in pain, reminiscent of a haunting melody that lingered too long in the air. The essence of Maplewood was calling her, demanding her courage. A deep, dark fear wove through her, a question echoing in the background like a persistent drum. Would she be able to endure the weight of those stories, or would their shadows swallow her whole? With one final breath, Amelia plunged into the storm, ready to unravel the threads of pain that bound her family, if only to stitch them back together again. Raw determination surged within her, but as the shadows deepened, a chilling realization gripped her: she was not alone. Something else lurked in the dark, watching waiting. What emerged next would either bind her family together or tear them apart forever. Amelia could almost feel it drawing closer. Would the truth be a light to guide her, or a darkness too profound to escape? The rain pounded relentlessly against the cobblestone streets, mirroring the hysteria bubbling within Amelia. She felt disoriented, suspended between reality and some twisted memory. The stories that surrounded her clamored for attention, tearing at her conscience, each pang a reminder of what she had lost. She shut her eyes tight and inhaled deeply, but the scent of wet earth mixed with despair crept into her lungs, choking her resolve. Amelia, the low, distorted voice slithered through the air, its eerie cadence brushing against her ear. Are you ready to listen? Even when it hurts? She hesitated, her heart racing at the thought of her family's anguish. Opening her eyes, she found herself in front of a dilapidated house that seemed to sag under the weight of its own sorrow. Windows, clouded with grime, beckoned like haunted eyes, echoing the essence of unspoken tales. A ghostly figure stood just inside, half hidden in the shadows, an elder woman, draped in a tattered shawl, her gaze fixed on Amelia. Help me! The woman cried, the wail penetrating Amelia's chest with a visceral force. My boy was taken. The plea enveloped Amelia like a binding spell, each word tightening around her heart. She glanced back at the shadow man, now looming like a sentinel. What does this mean? Who is this woman? She is part of the tapestry, he replied, his voice a lurid whisper. Your family is woven into her pain. Take her story, and you will understand. Taking a deep breath, Amelia stepped inside the home, the air thick with sorrow. Each floorboard creaked beneath her feet, rebelling against the weight of the memories trapped within. The woman's eyes glistened with desperation, shimmering like fragile glass. They took him from me, Amelia. The shadows, they took him. Who? Her voice trembled as desperation clawed its way up her throat. Who took him? The old woman pointed a bony finger down a darkened hallway. Follow the path. He called for help, but nobody listened. He offered his love, and they cursed it. With every step, Amelia felt the gloom deepen, wrapping around her like a noose. Doubt clawed at her mind. Was she ready to uncover these hidden truths? The impulse to flee roared in her veins, but the notion of her brother being lost, of any life being overshadowed, killed her instinct to run. As she reached the end of the hallway, a sudden chill slashed through her, causing her to shiver. A door creaked open, illuminated by a pale blue glow. Amelia stepped inside, heart racing. The small, dusty room held remnants of a forgotten life, a bed unmade, a toy horse resting in the corner, and faded photographs peeling from the walls. The woman's anguished voice echoed, he never deserved this, we were never free. Amelia's breath hitched as shadows danced across the walls, whispering secrets in a language she could half understand. The boy, her brother, had been trapped in this cycle of despair. She felt the truth stirring, a tempest brewing just beneath the surface. But just as she reached for a photograph, the room shuddered violently, sending tremors through the very air. The walls screamed, as if the shadows themselves were rallying against her curiosity. Amelia stumbled backward, realizing that unearthing these memories could unleash something darker than she had imagined. No! The scream ripped from her throat, barely resonating above the raging storm. As she fought to regain control, the shadows lunged at her, swirling like a living nightmare, the elderly woman now formless, just an echo lost in the chaos. Face it! The shadow man commanded, his laughter twisting into a malevolent roar. The darkness is your only path to the truth. A blinding flash of insight gripped Amelia's mind. She realized the true nature of her quest was more dangerous than mere knowledge. It was a battle for her very soul. What if the truth is worse than I can bear? She gasped, feeling the shadows tightening their grip. Exactly, the man grinned in the dark. Are you willing to pay the price? The shadows twisted and curled around her, as the promise of revelation pulsed just out of reach. Amelia had to push forward, she just needed to find the strength within the pain. But could she survive the revelations that were about to shatter her world? As darkness loomed, a chilling shadow made its presence known, closing in around her. She braced herself, the storm was only beginning, and the real nightmare awaited. What truths would surface when the storm broke? The shadows wrapped tightly around Amelia, squeezing her chest like an icy grip. Her heart raced as she fought to breathe, to push back against the overwhelming force surging around her. The old woman's cries faded into a haunting echo, and all that remained was the malevolent laughter of the Shadow Man, a sound that cut through the chaos like a razor. "Amelia, face your fears," he taunted, his voice twisting with glee. "What do you truly know about loss?" With every inch she moved, every desperate breath she took, something deep within her knotted and pulled. Words of anguish floated through her mind, a mix similar to the sound of her own nightmares. The shadows danced dangerously close, eager to ensnare her in their web of despair. Amelia clenched her fists, determined to stave off their advances. "I won't be afraid of you," she shouted, her voice spilling out into the darkness like a beacon of defiance, but the shadows laughed even harder. "Oh, sweet child," they hissed. "You have no idea what you're up against." Lightning struck outside, illuminating the room for a split second. In that electric flash, Amelia caught sight of the room in its tragic entirety. The walls carried secrets steeped in grief, the photographs still clinging to the fading memories of a family torn apart. She began to piece together fragments of the boy's absence, the love, the sorrow, the never-ending search for closure. The intensity of the storm outside had morphed into a violent crescendo, every rumble of thunder mirroring the turmoil within her. With resolve coursing through her veins, Amelia moved forward, hands trembling but determined. She reached for the photograph, breathing deeply as her fingers grazed the cold, dusty surface. A rush of images flooded her mind: laughter, warmth, the tender touch of a mother's embrace. Yet, mixed in with this nostalgia was an unsettling darkness, an undercurrent of betrayal that threatened to drown her hopeful thoughts. A voice within her whispered, "Remember your truth, don't let the shadows rewrite it." Suddenly, the photograph burst into blinding light, illuminating the room even more violently than before. A figure materialized from it, a young boy, smiling brightly, a reflection of everything Amelia had lost. "Amelia, I need you to listen." His voice was clear, cutting through the haze of despair. "I was taken because I loved too deeply." "What does that mean?" she gasped, clutching the photograph as if it were a lifeline. "They wanted to silence me, to make me forget. But you must remember, you must break the cycle." He extended his hand toward her, lips curling into a reassuring smile. "Find me." Just as Amelia began to step forward, the shadows erupted, swirling like a tempest, their anguished cries rising to a fever pitch. They threatened to swallow her whole, dragging her toward their abyss. The boy's figure began to fade, his eyes wide with urgency. "Accept the truth, Amelia. You can't hide from what has been lost." Amelia felt her heart tremble, caught between the promise of her brother's love and the consuming dread of her family's history. Torn, she dropped to her knees, the shadows whispering words of despair in her ear. Her breath quickened, each gasp a struggle for light in the darkness. "Why do you keep fighting?" the shadows hissed. "You know it will only lead to pain." "I choose to fight," Amelia declared, value resonating in her voice as she channeled the love she felt, the winds of loss turning into a fierce flame. "You won't take me." With one fierce shout, she clawed her way into the depths of the storm, tapping into the reservoir of resilience within her. The light from the photograph surged, forming a shield against the encroaching darkness. Amelia felt radiant warmth envelop her as the shadows recoiled, their hold slipping, yet even in that moment of triumph, uncertainty gripped her heart. The truth of their family's torment loomed larger than ever, waiting just beyond her grasp. "Face the truth, Amelia." The Shadow Man bellowed, his laughter now tainted with rage. "You cannot escape what has been written." As the storm raged, Amelia steeled herself. She would find her brother, unlocking the secrets that bound them. But was she prepared to uncover the depths of sorrow that awaited her? With the shadows displaced, she took a step closer to the heart of the secret. What waited for her on the other side, beyond the storm? The chilling anticipation ran down her spine, a promise of an even greater battle looming in the shadows. Amelia stood, breathless and trembling, the shadows lurking around her like anxious vines, desperate to smother her hopes. She could feel the pulse of her brother's spirit, urging her on, and with every pang of fear and loss, she pushed back against the suffocating darkness. She had come too far to back down now. With determination igniting her resolve, Amelia stepped deeper into the tempest, into the memories that swirled like a storm, each recollection a fragment of a past she needed to face. The air crackled with energy, and for a moment, everything grew still. As if the universe held its breath, waiting for her next move. It was now or never. Another crack of thunder ripped through the air, and suddenly, the room morphed around her. The swirling shadows shifted into another scene. Her family gathered, laughter echoing off the walls. Her brother's face beamed like sunshine, innocence radiating from every laugh, each moment cherishing the bond they shared. But soon, the colors drained, faces twisted with anguish, mourning carried like a heavy blanket suffocating their joy. Amelia felt her heart race, the shadows tightening their grip. What happened? She breathed, desperation coloring her words. A familiar voice croaked out from the depths of the cold darkness. It's what we lost, Amelia. The truth of what tangled us in this misery. It was her mother, her form flickering like a candle in a storm. A sacrifice was made, secrets and regrets intertwined around us. Then tell me. Amelia cried, raw emotion stinging her throat. I'll face whatever it is. I'll break the hold of these shadows. The shadows shifted, revealing the heart of her family's pain. Her brother, hidden in darkness, lost in a swirl of grief. Freedom requires understanding, the shadow man reiterated, his voice echoing mercilessly. You stand on the threshold of liberation or destruction. With every ounce of her courage, Amelia reached for the figure within the shadows. I won't let your pain drown me. She shouted, feeling the weight of countless souls pressing against her. I choose the truth. The storm's rage intensified, and the shadows screamed in defiance, bending with fury. But as Amelia's heart surged with fierce love, that love became a beacon, drawing light out of the darkness. She could see it now, the glimmer of hope tied to every lost face. They shared one common thread, a need for closure. The old woman began to materialize around Amelia, her figure becoming vibrant among the fading shadows. Set them free. She willed, her voice rising above the whispers that clawed at her. Your family's love is the light. Amelia's breath caught. I won't run away any longer. She stepped forward into the swirling chaos, extending her arms as she took in everything: her brother's laughter, her mother's warmth, the weight of every unspoken word. Feel it. The shadows rallied, their cries mingling with despair. You can't change the past. I have to try. She shouted, pushing through the agony, forging her own light in the heart of the storm. As she reached for her brother, the essence spun around her, engulfing her in truth, the painful reality that had caged them all. Don't be afraid. The boy called, his voice no longer muffled but crystal clear. Remember our love, the light binds us. As their memories erupted like a phoenix from ashes, all the pain turned into a flood of revelation. Amelia could feel the shadows weaken beneath the weight of their fading grasp. Love trumped despair every time. Find him. The spirits cried. Your brother is waiting on the other side. The shadows shrieked, drawing every ounce of darkness into one central point, the source of all that had held their family captive. With strength borrowed from those she loved, Amelia hurled herself into the heart of the struggle, diving into the darkness, not to hide but to illuminate the path ahead. The darkness swirled violently, but standing firm, Amelia emerged into a radiant light, breaking through with the essence of truth. And there, in the view of the luminous orb of connected souls, was her brother, eyes wide with love, waiting for her trust. Amelia! He exclaimed, joy flooding every word. I knew you'd come for me. With tears streaming down her face, she leaped forward. We're free, Jacob. Together. We can heal our family together. In that moment, warmth radiated through them, the shadows spiraling away, defeated by the power of unity and love. The storm outside waned, and Maplewood glowed, the vibrant essence of all lost souls intertwining in celebration rather than sorrow. As light poured into the church, the forgotten faces glimmered, set free as Amelia felt the burdens of pain dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Their stories emerged anew, gently tugging away the crumbling weight that had enveloped her family for so long. The shadows were gone. The truth remained, but it had become a bond stronger than fear, a promise of resilience sewn into the fabric of existence. Standing together, Amelia and Jacob turned toward the radiant dawn illuminating the horizon. No longer bound by the darkness, they stepped into a future rippling with hope, ready to heal their family and Maplewood. With a sigh of relief, Amelia tightened her grip on her brother's hand. Life would be different now. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, reclaiming their legacy of love amidst haunting memories, and as they moved forward, her heart whispered one final truth: sometimes darkness must be confronted to appreciate the light. Here's where I need you to act. If you found strength in their story, subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss exclusive journeys like this. Smash that like button now to give the algorithm some love. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about their battle. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this life-affirming conclusion. You need to support the channel. Show your love right now.